Hi everyone, my name is Bella Harper and welcome to my first ever official YouTube video. On my channel I want to make videos mostly about theater and college and specifically going to school for theater, which is what I'm doing. Now if you're at the title of this first video, which is probably why you're here, this is about how I got into school. This fall I'm attending UW-Milwaukee for musical theater, specifically a BFA in musical theater performance. Every school has a different application process and mine was really unique, so I really wanted to make a video about this because when I was getting ready for school and when I was applying for one place really, and you'll find out about that later, I watched a lot of these videos about applying and getting ready for school and just everything to do with the application process and specifically for auditioning for a musical theater program. Please ignore the cicadas. Let's start with the application process. So I would just want to get through my numbers first. So my school's average numbers, I believe, is a 22 on the ACT and a 3.0 GPA. If you know anything about getting into colleges, this is not a very competitive school to get into. The reason for that being is that UWM is a second chance school. So this means that they take applicants more based on their essays than based on their test scores. Although your test scores do help when it comes to scholarships. So on my ACT, I got a 27, so that's well above my school's average of a 22. My cumulative GPA ended up being a 3.833. And this is a bit on the higher end, especially since my high school had an unweighted GPA, so I couldn't get more than a 4.0. So my test scores and my GPA, as I said before, didn't really factor into my acceptance, but a lot of people are curious about them, so I thought I would put them out there. Next we have the essays. So the essays are a lot more important to my school. I believe there are 2 UW-Milwaukee essays. These really determine if you get into my school or not, because they want people that seem like, even if their test scores and their GPA isn't the best, they want people that seem like they really want to go to college and to give them a second chance, and if they give them that second chance, that they'll take it and they'll run with it. So your essays are really important, especially if your test scores and your GPAs aren't that good. And finally, so that was all of my application, but what was really interesting for me specifically was that I had an interview to get into school. So my high school is not far away from UW-Milwaukee, so what they do is they send an admissions rep for this one day. It's called like our early admission day. It's one day in October and they come in. You have to apply beforehand online and then they come in after reviewing your application and then they do an interview with you. So by doing this, I believe I took out one of the essays, and also I was able to really go face to face with what I was doing in school and what I wanted. My admissions rep was super sweet. She really talked to me not just about school, but also what I'm passionate about, also the job that I've held through high school. And after my interview, she actually told me straight up that I got into UWM, which was amazing. It took a big weight off my shoulders, and that was in October. So I already knew that I got into the institution as a whole, and then now it was only time to audition. If you know anything about majoring in a performing art, you have to audition, and in a visual art you have to send in a portfolio usually. So my audition process is one of the most rigorous ones that you can do for a performing arts major, because a musical theater major is a combination of a vocal performance, acting, and dance BFA. So I am 1/3 vocal performance, 1/3 acting, and 1/3 dance for my entire 4 years at school. So that also means that I had 3 auditions. Setting up my audition, I had to go onto their website and schedule an audition slot. And when I did this, I also had to submit a theatrical resume and also a headshot. So I'll make another video about headshots and resumes and how to get those things together. But for now, I'll just tell you that I had my headshots professionally done with my senior pictures, and I had made a resume previously for auditioning for other things, so I had those all set and I just uploaded them, and I was able to schedule my audition for November 30th. So this was the earliest audition slot that I could get, and I'm really glad I did it then because I knew I got into the school and I was a lot calmer after that. I got there at 8 a.m. for my audition, and I had a vocal audition, and I had to do 2 contrasting pieces. Everything was listed on the website beforehand of what I needed to get. So I needed 2 contrasting pieces. One of them I chose was Losing My Mind from Follies, and the other piece I chose was I Can Cook Too from On the Town. So these pieces really are 2 contrasting pieces because one is obviously a ballad, one is a more up-tempo jazzy song. They also had a lot of stylistic differences, so it worked really well in my favor. So the next thing I had was my music theory placement test, and actually my high school offered a music theory course that I was taking my senior year, so my music theory placement test was actually pretty cheese for me. I got through all of the fundamentals and a little bit into the 101, but if you have music theory at your school and you're looking into doing something with music, I really recommend taking it in high school first and really getting that groundwork for college. If you don't know any music theory and you're nervous about having to know music theory, do not worry because it's just a placement test, and I don't know if a lot of other schools do a placement test for music theory. Mine just did specifically, but don't worry about it. You will learn in college. It's just to place you, just like any of your other placement tests. My next audition after my music theory placement test was my dance call. My dance call actually consisted of all of the musical theater majors that were auditioning and also all of the acting majors. We did a short combination, and really I think the biggest thing to remember with the dance call is just energy, really keeping a smile, working through it. If you make mistakes, that's okay. They just want to see if you have rhythm, if you're willing to get back up on your feet again after making a mistake. That's huge. Finally, I did my 1-minute monologue. So my school required for musical theater auditionees, they required a 1-minute contemporary monologue. So I did a monologue from a play that for the life of me I can't remember, and I can't find it now, but it was a monologue that started off pretty, like it seemed like it was dramatic, and then it went into a comedic style, and that was a really good monologue to have, I think, because it showed off both sides of my acting ability, and I think those are hidden gems that are great to find. Also, I will be making another video about picking out audition monologues and where to find them and what's considered contemporary and classical, everything like that I'll be doing in another video. So after my audition went from 8 p.m. till 2 p.m. that day, and afterwards I waited about a week and a half. They told me it was going to be about 3 weeks, so I heard a lot sooner, but I waited about a week and a half before I found out that I got into the musical theater program, and then I was all set for school. Now, I personally didn't apply for any other schools simply because I knew that I wanted to go to UWM, and when it came down to it, I did a lot of pros and cons between different schools, and I decided that UWM was really the perfect fit for me. I loved the campus, I loved the city, I loved the program, everything about it really suited me. The thing with performing arts majors, like I said, you have to audition for schools. So usually you can't apply to as many schools because you need to actually go there or go to a unified audition to do an audition for them live, which is a lot if you're applying to a bunch of schools and you're in the middle of your senior year. It's a lot to do. So I really recommend, if you're doing a performing arts major, going through the logistics of each one first, because you might rule out schools that you had in the running before and you're like, oh, there's really no way that I want to go there or I could go there. Obviously there's a ton of factors that go into that, but I really recommend narrowing down your list before you start applying, because as you start applying you also have to go in and audition, and if you're going across the country, the United States is a big place, it's a lot to handle, you're gonna miss a lot of school. It's just a tough thing to do. So I would recommend narrowing down your field as much as you can. And I narrowed it down to one school. Sorry if the camera moves slightly. I got a call and I had to answer it and it stopped recording. So yeah, had to move my camera. As I was saying, if you are in a performing arts major, just make sure that you try to narrow down your schools as much as you can in the first place. Me personally, I narrowed it down to just one, and that could have been bad because if I hadn't gotten into my program I would have been really disappointed, but at the same time I auditioned really early, so I could have done a later audition at different schools and just applied later rather than doing early decision, which would have been perfectly fine, but I got into my school and I'm really happy about it. That's how I got into the musical theater BFA program at UW-Milwaukee. I will be making more and more videos about theater, about school, about theater in school, all of the above, maybe some vlogs. I have a bunch of ideas written down, and I hope you end up subscribing and comment down below what you want to see next, if you want to see anything next. Otherwise, if you're just here for a one-stop shop, hi. Glad you came, glad you watched my video. As I said, I watched a ton of these when I was getting ready for school, so I just wanted to add my voice into the mix. Good luck all you seniors that are applying for schools, and good luck to everybody that's auditioning for schools too. I really hope that you guys end up where you're meant to be, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your year. Thank you!